run across some other people. Train them if you don't like them. You know.
Ben.
Excuse me.
Welcome. This is Pantheon Plus U number 63. I'm here with my good Ranger lore buddy, Therek. Say hi to the people, Therek.
Hello, everybody.
We are normally joined by one Nathan Napalm, but he is currently somewhere in the air over Chicago, not to be heard from.
No. Couldn't make it.
So, yeah, if you're out traveling, be safe. But we got a dev stream today. Very exciting. What did you think, Therek? You took better notes than me. What did you think?
Well, yeah, no, it was good. There was some bits and pieces that I thought were pretty interesting. Lots of little things. I think the overall theme, if I was to sort of summarize, would be, setting expectations for the year in terms of the roadmap to alpha. Defining some things, what a certain state looks like, what does design complete mean, and what does complete mean in terms of when it's listed on the roadmap, and the details of what goes into those things. So lots of little notes we can dig into. One of the I think probably the best thing out of it was the class abilities, the class development they talked a lot about. In some of the notes I took were that Adam was pushing class design further from where it was, so when they brought Tehom onto the team, he's taken some of that design stuff that he was brought in for the Enchanter or for the Perception system, but then we saw his work in the Enchanter, and now with the other classes using that same philosophy to sort of push them a little further, which I think is pretty cool because I love what he did with the Enchanter, or at least what they talked about with that, what we know of it. So they talked about tweaking some abilities. Maybe new abilities. One of the lines I thought was most interesting was bringing in some of the more ambitious abilities. And so those are ones, if you look back, if you remember the old website, like, the ones that are there now are pared down from what it used to be. There used to be way, way more, but a lot of them were very ambitious is a good word. I think it's kind of an understatement to say that they're ambitious. And I think when the new website came along, even though it says there it's not a complete list, the idea was maybe some of those really ambitious ones were just not feasible, but this kind of brings back that hope that some of those are, so
wasn't there a giant skill list at some point too that like got flashed on the screen and we screenshotted it and it had like a huge list?
Yeah, that was the stats. We did the Pantheon Plus U about the deep stats.
Yeah, the deep dive on the stats.
Yeah, and it had. We should go back and look at that again because there's just so many class abilities that are very ambitious, and I think that they really want to try and get those, and that's awesome. Like we were talking the other night, Draq, you and I, about the Silent Arrow, the Ranger ability, the manual aiming ability of the Ranger, and we were sort of like sort of wondering,
it's been strangely quiet on that front.
how realistic is that? And that's not to say that they've said it's not happening. It's, as far as we know, it still is, but it's one of those very ambitious abilities. I feel like it would take it would take its own sort of effort to create something like that, but
may get pushed to the back.
yeah, and I, like I said online at the time, I'm not an FPS player, so I wouldn't be disappointed to see that happen. So that's one thing. And they talk about bringing the Cleric online, which is something we've heard before. Somebody in chat was sort of commenting, it's been all these years and you don't have the Cleric online. But I wanted to bring up Chris Rowan in chat, clarified that and said, yeah, no, it's been there. It's just been iterated on. This is now, several iterations, which is, again, fitting with the whole theme of, developing these designs and pushing them a little further. So nobody wants a basic Cleric. Let's get a real cool, a Cleric that is interesting.
We've had the Cleric in co-streams.
Yeah, I mean, even the Ranger's been. I mean, they've had a Ranger on. Basgrim played a Ranger in one of the earliest streams, but it a very basic version of a Ranger, a very basic version of a Cleric, just something that can perform a function, serve a purpose for that stream or whatever.
Yeah, it's not like these are like not fleshed out, not thought about, don't have skills. Oh, we're just bringing it on for the first time, right? It's not like that. They're just redoing passes on this stuff, and they're bringing things back online. Like, Take a breath. It's gonna be okay.
Take a breather. Yep. Yeah. I mean, and on that note, another thing they talked about was the animations, right? And just this continual polishing process. They talked about the run animation getting specific attention, and just getting that cleaned up, improved, made better. A small thing, but something that you're going to be doing a lot, especially with the last dev roundtable that talked about sprinting being added. So now there's a sprinting skill that uses endurance. So if you're gonna do that, maybe get your run animation fixed up. So it looks great when you're doing all this sprinting. So I think that was the overall theme. What about you? What stood out to you, Draq?
What stood out to me is that Minus and Rodnik said that they were gonna make streams shorter, and we still went for an hour.
Minus does not talk in short stints.
I think that's code for Minus and Rodnik are still gonna go an hour long.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? Hey man, that's fine.
Hey,
they can say they're gonna do short streams and then do long streams. That's fine by me. Especially because, I think the idea being shorter updates, shorter streams, the idea being letting the devs do development and not putting so much work into production and this kind of thing. I mean, it's crazy to think about how much goes into putting one of these streams together, getting material to present. I'd rather have the devs making the game rather than doing this stuff. I said that before. Like I said that, a year and a half ago when the monthly newsletter became a thing, right? So yeah, just devs should be deving, and if Minus and Rodnik are handling the dev streams, great, wonderful, that's awesome.
I also see that my other takeaway is that Minus is slowly but surely taking over, because he's having Chris on for the first one, and then he's like, now it's mine.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? If that's like my job. If somebody says, you know what, this task that you're doing, let me help you with this. Let me step in and take over. I'm like, it's all yours. Like you got this. Like, I don't have ownership of these kinds of things, and I think they're smart to let Minus, do work his magic, because
he's good at it.
He's excellent at it. He will put his 1,000% into anything he takes on. So, these update streams are going to be pretty sweet. Even if they're shorter, they're going to be pretty sweet, because just look at the material they presented. What we saw. We saw some new of the HDRP conversion. We saw some terrain that's gone through the HDRP conversion.
Right.
We saw some materials. Like, these are all things that I'm sure people in the green room are going to want to talk to us about. Right. So I don't want to spoil it all. But
speaking of which, you know what else I learned from this dev stream?
What's that?
I'm not as big of a nerd as I thought I was.
I think you need to explain that, because I think we're both pretty big nerds, but you need to explain that a little bit.
When Kyle is putting up the little boxes and talking about the network, it's just like, and I'm just like, what the heck is he even talking about? And I'm just like, I'm just thinking to myself, I think we made a joke about how we're going to be camping square boxes. And when Pantheon comes out, like, I have no idea what was going on there. It looked cool, but I have no idea. Like, I don't know.
Well, it's speaking a language. I like that they include that, because that is a language that a lot of people in the community do speak. We just don't speak it ourselves. So you have to provide that aspect of the development process. And Kyle's a wizard, man. I don't even. He's like a different breed of human than me. Just somebody who's got so much more intelligence and knowledge, and when it comes to this kind of thing. So I'm glad that they included that. It was very it was interesting to see people reacting to it in chat, because we're some people that could react and knew what he was talking about, and were like responding positively to it. I didn't see any sort of critiques, or I didn't see anything like that. But again, maybe folks want to come on the show here and talk about what they saw. If you have some, you're able to discuss that.
Hopefully we'll be able to get Desmond in here. He's usually our super tech guy for us.
Yeah. On the rewind, I throw everything to Desmond that has to do with technical details, and just say, Desmond, what's this about? Then he tells me about it. So
perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this show is not about me and Therek talking to each other. We do that a lot anyway.
Yeah.
This show is about you, the community, getting in here and getting your opinion heard by devs, because I've seen at least 3 devs in the chat. and by the Pantheon community. We want to know what you thought about the Dev stream. We want to know what you think about Pantheon in general. We just want to know. This is a talk radio style type format. So what you do is you hop in our Discord and you go to the green room, and then Therek will drag you up, and then you can say your piece, and we'll discuss it with you. So let's fill up the green room. Let's get some people in there, and let's get this thing going.
Absolutely. So, Draq, if you want to post a link to the green room in the chat, we have Lucille in the green room right now. So, Lucille, if you are ready, unmute yourself, and as soon as I see that you've unmuted yourself, I'll pull you into the live, and then we can chat on the show. Yeah, there's the link for the Discord. Okay, Lucille, coming into the live room. Hi, Lucille. How are you?
Lucille?
How are you guys doing? I'm doing great.
Yeah, we're awesome,
Doing
man.
great.
We're always good. It's Dev Stream Day, and always good to get some new beans to chew on. What are you chewing on? What's
Oh my goodness. I loved hearing about. I keep wondering because they were talking about the paths that our pets are gonna take,
Mhm.
and so I'm wondering if that also means that enchanter charm pets are gonna have a path, or if they're
Ooh.
just because we charm different pets at different times, if it's going to keep on changing, or if they're going to move from one to the other, or what,
Yeah, it's a good
or
question.
or even like does it depend on which pets we work our way up to?
Right. Well,
Yeah,
also in original EverQuest, because sometimes this game leans towards EverQuest or goes to it. The enchanter had a pet in addition to being able to charm something. So is that
Yeah,
going to happen?
yeah.
and
One of the things that really when they talked about this on the stream, that's it was good that they broke down what the connection is between the pets and the networking stack, because I mean I kind of got it from just like it's just more things that there has to be more network traffic because there's more things. But the way Joppa kind of laid it out, he's absolutely right. Like if they put the summoner in right away, or an enchanter that can summon a pet, or a ranger that can summon the beckoning system, everybody's going to play that, and you're going to have this massive, basically doubling or tripling even maybe the amount of entities that have to be in the world at that time. So I understood it a little bit already, but just sort of clarified that a little more. And I think what Joppa said was having more fine detail control over how they can manage that. So Lucille, I think what you're saying is like the things you're talking about with like, the pathing for pets, how is that going to be affected? I think that would fall under that category.
And how?
and
Oh, go ahead.
no, you go.
Oh, I was just gonna say, how far have we come with pets, man? I remember back when we were doing original EverQuest, right? When you wouldn't even summon your pet till you got to the camp, because anytime you moved just a little bit, your pet would take off down the hall and pull like half the zone back to you,
Oh my
right?
goodness. Right.
And so,
Train
yeah, and
train
so
incoming.
train incoming, and now we're going to be able to, like, from previous streams they've talked about how we're going to be able to like armor our pet, and we're going to be able to skill up our pet, and we're going to be able to control skills on our pet, and when those activate, like, that's going to be super cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like having your
that's where I
own
was going.
another class with you, right?
Right. I'm definitely making a
Exactly.
summoner at some point.
Oh, oh my goodness. And then, well, because something I love to do is that, like, whenever boss fights would have pets or additional mobs that come along during the fight, I would charm those and sick them on the boss. And then just for like 60 seconds, because I had a 60-second charm for level 65s.
Yeah. Well, in the last Dev Roundtable, Kilson was talking about how much he enjoyed going into high level zones, charming really high level mobs, and just the thrill of being able to control them for that amount of time, right? Like pets add this whole other dimension to the game. I saw in chat somebody said, so is Ranger a pet class? Well, they talked about the beckoning system, right? And I think that's part of the attraction to it, is that it just, for every class that can have a pet of any kind, whether it's a charmed pet or a summoned pet, it just adds like this other layer to it that I find makes the game more interesting. So I
Well, I thought he
understand
was
that people love
asking
it.
if the ranger itself was a pet.
Pet or pet class. Yeah, you're right. He did say that. I just
Yeah.
I edited it in my mind to make it more respectful to the ranger.
When I saw him add all those headless entities on the networking, I was like, "Wow, that is awesome."
Yeah, it was an interesting sort of demonstration, right? It's like Draq and I were laughing because we were paying attention to his the CPU load and that kind
Me
of stuff. And by the way, Kyle, you have a Windows update pending. You should really take care of that. Just to let you know, I do
No,
too. As
do
at this
not
moment I'm
update.
talking, I have one as well. So
Pause. Put off till
Do
3
not
o'clock in the
update.
morning.
Resist.
resist. That's right. Yeah. No, those are great points, Lucille. That's anything else on your mind?
No, I just had a great time tonight and great time listening to y'all too. Y'all have a
Awesome.
good night.
Have a good
Thanks.
night,
You
man.
too. Talk to you later. All right. That was great. Good to hear from Lucille. We haven't heard from them in a long time. So, right on. Let's go right now. We have a new person in the green room that we haven't talked to before. It's
Woohoo.
Mano Farhan. So, Mano Farhan, if you can hear me, unmute yourself. And as soon as that is done, I'll drag you into live and we'll see what you're thinking about. So, there you go. Yeah, perfect. Okay, here you come. Mano Farhan, hey, how are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Yeah,
Welcome.
and it's actually Man of Rohan, as
Oh.
the
Oh.
land of Rohan.
Yes, that makes
Yeah.
much more sense than the way I was saying it.
Well, someone on the forums called me Frohan. I kind of liked that, so maybe that
Frohan's
could
a
be.
good name, yeah.
I don't have a pro, but that was kind of cool.
Well, there's
So
another person that's in the community that comes on occasionally, and his name is Idiotech, but Minus used to call him Idiot EQ all the time. So it's not the worst mispronunciation of a name that's been on the show in the
right,
past.
he
Linus
has
is
a
also
problem.
giving you crap about pronouncing names right now in chat.
Justly, yes. Anyway, what's on your mind, man? Sorry
So
to derail you.
one thing I thought was really interesting was the idea of how they have the materials already. We're seeing them on the little Pantheon pokeballs, but the or the bocce balls, whatever you want to call them. But the idea that you could have rusty armor or have that material applied to any of the other elements you have out there in the world, and just thinking about as a crafter and what kind of things maybe there's some maintenance idea out there that you would need to do. I'm not generally necessarily a fan of having to maintain my armor all the time as I'm out, but that might be an interesting thing. So I just thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah, I thought it was cool too, and the reason I did because I love it when there's consistency across all items, right? So if something is
Mhm.
described as rusted iron, you're going to see that same tone, that same skin. The skin doesn't feel like the right word here, but it's going to look the same throughout the world. And you're right. So if there's item durability, which there is going to be, they've talked about that. Will that change? Will it change how it looks when we repair our items? When we and
Yeah.
an item becomes damaged over time, will it change to reflect that new look? And some of
Yeah, I
those
love
were
that.
great, right? Which one of those? I mean, did you have a particular favorite that you liked the most?
I
I
know
like the
which
blue a
one.
lot.
I know which one Therek liked the most. The
Yeah,
pink
you do.
one.
No, not the
Was that
pink
was
one.
that the gem one? That
No,
was pretty awesome.
the gem one
But
was very cool. Yeah, I agree.
I
I like that
actually
one too.
liked. I was gonna sorry about that, but I actually liked the rusty one. It was really cool
Yeah, the
looking. I
rusty
made me
one
want
was cool.
rusty armor. My
Yeah.
first rusty knife. That's what I'm gonna keep for a while because it just looks so cool.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was the green, right? Like that classic Ranger Ivy etched armor green, like
You're
Yeah.
not gonna be wearing armor. You could be wearing leather.
I'll wear some armor.
Leather.
Hey, my first class in EverQuest was a ranger as well, so
Dude.
I'm with you.
Okay, well,
Oh,
you're my
man.
new favorite Pantheon Plus you caller.
More Rangers. Fantastic.
Awesome. Well, thanks,
So
guys.
good.
Thanks for the time, and it was good to chat.
Right
Thanks
on,
for
man.
coming on,
Abraham.
man.
Yep.
Thanks so much. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah.
That was great. That guy's awesome. He's my new.
That's how you
He's my
nail
new
it.
BFF.
When you come on for the first time, that's it right there. Boom.
Well, we'll balance it out. We'll bring Bounty Code on because
Yes.
he's a wizard
More
like
wizards.
you, and we'll balance it out. So Bounty, unmute yourself. We'll get you in here so you can talk about it. I think Bounty probably wants to talk about the technical stuff because he knows this stuff.
Yeah.
He's technical like this,
Yeah.
so maybe he'll enlighten us about.
We need a translation of the translation.
Okay, yeah. So Bounty, unmute yourself. As soon as you do, I'll bring you in. Soon. Maybe not. Oh, well, maybe he's AFK. Maybe we'll skip. We'll go to Des for now until Bounty unmutes himself. So Desrin, if you are there, unmute yourself. Wait. Oh, Bounty's there. Okay, Bounty, you're coming in. Bounty Code.
Hey guys,
Going on.
sorry about that. I was waiting for you guys to move me in to unmute.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm trying to get more professional at this. I'm trying to improve my workflow system, so I'm just switching it up a little bit. I had to bring you on because we had a ranger enthusiast on previous, and now we have to have wizard to support Draq.
Balance
Wizard.
out the wizard.
Wizard
Yes.
unite.
Yeah, wizard power.
What's on your wizard mind?
Well, yeah, I'm not going to be able to shed any light on the network stuff for you. You saw my comment. I said, "Oh, great! So 2 clients can run concurrently on the servers now. Confirmed." I don't know what he was talking about.
Yeah. Wow. Welcome to the club.
Well, if you
You're not
don't
alone.
know, we have no chance.
I know. I'm a web developer, not a network programmer, Jim.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that sounds like a Star Trek line right there.
Oh, a doctor, not a doctor.
Yeah.
So what did you like? What was your favorite part, or what didn't you
The
like?
material was amazing. Like it looked, graphics are not the most important thing for me, but I saw the textures on the materials and it just totally blew me away. It's like I want rusted armor now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're on the
No
screen
one's
right now.
going to be giving up their armor. Everybody's going to be like, no. I can get another 6 levels out of this rusted armor. I'm
That's
keeping
right.
it.
Yes, it looks awesome. The pitted material, it's just incredible.
And you know what? I mean, I feel like the gauntlet's been thrown down because Minus said that, if you're a lore fan, lore hound, you should be able to sort of discern some of these materials. And I mean, there's obvious ones like the Cold Dark Steel was the blue one. There's maybe a couple others that I could wager a guess at, but I don't want to do that until I've had a chance. But I'm gonna do some sleuthing and try and see if I can find out what some of these materials might be, because I think the answers might be out there. So I feel like I've been challenged a little bit.
Yeah, he did say if someone was interested in lore, like, I don't know.
Yeah. That would be a great thing if you can put up, I think this is gold, I think this is mithril or whatever, and then see how close you got.
Yes, I'm excited now. Hold on, Draq, you got to take the show. I'm leaving. I got to go work on the lore video.
There goes Therek.
I'm out.
They put that on the screen, and I was like, no, like that means I'm going to be doing this show alone.
Dude, I almost checked out when they said the website was updated. I was like, my head exploded because I've been asking for that for so long now. I was just waiting, and I checked it out. If you haven't checked it out, you can go over to the pantheonmo.com and check it out. The world, it's under the drop-down menu now on the top left. It's overview, and then world is the next one, and then you've got the current, all the lore detailing the main sort of history of Terminus and that kind of thing. So I'm so glad that's back there because it's just such good writing, and it helps. I think it makes the game look so much better. Yeah, I'm excited for that. And I have to scour that as well because I need to compare it against what I have saved to see if it's anything different. So work to do. Anyway,
like
sorry, I was ranting.
Sounds like a whole bunch of Pantheon Plus shorts coming soon.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah. So the materials, anything else you noticed, Bounty, that stood out?
So yeah, this is one line that caught my ear, and I wanted to come on just to bounce it off of you guys. But when Chop was talking about the pets, he just put in this one little line or word and never expanded on it. You said the pets will grow with you, and then you went off to something else. I'm like paused right there, going, "Wait a second. Do they level? Do you be able to add gear to them? Will they be like a side character that grows with you?" Like that was a huge word to my mind. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, Draq, what did you think?
I didn't catch that. I kind of always, because they've talked about the pets leveling up, and they've talked about the pets like you can equip them with better and better armor, and you can make them learn new skills and stuff. So I just kind of thought that's what he was talking about when he said grow.
Yeah, they have talked about this before. It's not the first time they've mentioned it, but it's very exciting, and it's like one of those extra layers, because you're not only now collecting, like if you can equip, they've said you can equip items on your elemental. This might be a summoner archimental only thing. I'm not sure, because for some reason my brain is saying like that's what makes the archimental special. That's what makes the summoner special.
Oh yeah,
is that they are a little bit more customizable. But either way, all the more reason to play in a summoner, because if you're out there in a dungeon, you're not only getting gear for yourself, you're getting gear for your archimental, right? For your pet.
Exactly.
Dude, if you're a guy that loves to collect gear, like summoner is your bag, right?
Just doubles up, right? It's twice as much fun. So yeah, it's exciting, and as a wizard there, Bounty, you don't get to have that. You don't get a pet, but maybe Draq and you can be each other's pet or something like that.
It's gonna definitely.
We're gonna start alt mages together. It's gonna be great.
That's exactly. I'm gonna make an alt
summoners. Alt summoners. Yeah. Sorry, alt summoners together.
There we go. That's right. Exactly.
We're gonna go hardcore. That's what we're gonna do.
Yep.
That's great. That's awesome. Good stuff, man. Well, Bounty, that's excellent. Anything else you wanted to mention, or is
nope? That was it. Thank you for the time.
Right on. Thanks, Bounty. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye. All right. Great stuff from Bounty.
More wizards.
Yes. But good points there. So Desrin is in the green room as well, and I know Desrin is going to help us out with the technical stuff because he just knows this stuff well. So let's bring Desrin in.
Still not too late to jump in there if you want to get a word in.
That's right. Hey, Des, what's going on?
Yes, right.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, what's up?
Well, no, you're saying I'm going to explain everything for you guys. Like
all our hopes and dreams rest on you, Desrin.
No pressure.
Yeah, me who's like not actually done networking. That's a great idea.
All those little boxes on there, you need to explain to me what the heck is going on.
I think he actually explained it just about as well as he can. It just might take some folks watching it again to understand. But one of my favorite parts about that whole spiel was when Joppa kind of goes into the why that ties into summoners, for example, and kind of breaks down that, if they added it right now, not only would they have to redo a bunch of work, but it would actually cause problems for the current PA testing. And obviously they don't want that, right?
Yeah. It's again, like it's a workflow issue. Think about it, how much easier your job is when you have a system, you have a flow of tasks, and you do it in the proper order, as opposed to trying to do things in really awkward in a way that doesn't make any sense. It's basic stuff, but I joke around about the Ranger not being in and how I'm sad, but I don't want it to cause problems. I want to get the game done, and I want it. If that means Ranger goes in last, so be it. I don't care. It's fine. Just doing things in a logical way. I think it made me laugh. What you're saying makes me think of that moment at the very beginning when they talked about the instancing tech, and the collective chat. I think
exploded.
Oh my gosh! Talk about a trigger.
Yeah. So to clarify again, They weren't saying anything about instancing from a like dungeon or gameplay standpoint. This was a technical thing. So talking about rendering, but yeah, interesting how that, they need to get that right, and that needs to be part of the process.
Yeah, and that whole thing is just about optimization, which I don't think needs to really be explained much further, right?
Right.
Yeah.
We got
I mean,
to
we
see,
saw.
we got to see trees and grass and rocks and stuff, like, right?
Yeah, I was going to kind of get into that because there was a good bit of displeasure, I feel, in the chat tonight, or disappointment, I would say. Probably because the mention of streams potentially getting shorter, but also because a lot of folks felt like the stream was overhyped, right? And I think it all comes down to just one word that was posted in the announcement on social media, and that's just because Kilson said it's going to be big.
Yeah.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. There was nowhere else that this was promoted or hyped or anything like that, right? It was just that one sentence.
Just that one post. He might as well have said it's going to be big, and they're adding instances.
Yeah. Oh man, couple trigger words right there, but yeah, no, I know,
Right.
I saw that too, Des, and I was like, you know what? I mean, come on now. I mean,
You
Jeez
got
Louise.
you gotta let them. You can't nitpick everything they say. You gotta give them a little room.
I mean, what are they supposed to
Right,
say?
right.
This is going to be a mediocre stream.
This-
Hope you see you
exactly.
This
there.
stream is gonna
Exactly.
suck.
It's like, are they going to have to anti-hype their stuff because people feel like everything is going to be a disappointment? And just because I don't really want to get like super crazy and like fight people over this, because if you're disappointed, that's fine. You can be disappointed. I would argue you
I
might
want
want
to
to
see
adjust
Des
your-
fight people over this. Can I raise my hand for that?
Well, I'm going to fight people with information, all right? Right now. Because this stream, in spite of starting late and being short, it had a networking update with a demo, a visual demo, to try to explain, the progress, what they can do, and how efficient it was. Not in real time, but, visually. They showed off some environment stuff. They showed off the, additional foliage that they've got right now. This isn't the HDRP Part 2 stream where we're going to see a fully staged, scene, but, it's an update for that, which is important, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got to see some materials for assets, like tons of different materials that are going to get applied to weapons, which is a sneaky way for them to show off visual progress without like showing, basically like spoiling all these items, right? I thought that was kind of clever. So they showed that. So that's some visual stuff. We got some commentary on animations and their approach to animations. We want to get all the animations in, first of all, so that we're not kind of focusing on, like 30% to try to make them really good, because what happens if they can see some improvements that would trickle down to, all of the animations, throughout this year, then it's only going to affect 30% that are good, and then they still have to make the others. So they're just trying to finish as many as they can, and then the improvements come after that. And Joppa, listed all sorts of other things that can affect animation that probably no one's going to research or anything. But all that to say, there's a lot of ways to make animations better without physically, keyframing every single thing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, and Ludwig said a dull stream is so much better than no stream, right? And that's how I feel about it. I feel about it too. Like, what do you want? Like, are we going to not have any stream this year until they announce alpha? Like, that's going to be miserable. Let's not do that.
Right.
Give us the updates. Give us what you got. Give us something to talk about. I mean, like, just for the Pantheon Plus U show.
Well, and here, so we're only half done. So No, we got some class info and updates.
Yeah.
Again, this is just commentary, so no like physical gameplay of it, but they addressed a lot of things about classes and even explained certain things that they haven't explained before, like I mentioned with the summoner, and actually tying that in so people aren't just seeing it as like an excuse to why summoner isn't in, but why. They did a kind of overall development update talking about their approach, which is heads down. They really need to like crank it out and not waste any time. And then lastly, and this is just my quick notes here, but lastly, they gave like a community and content update, an update on the website, like,
Ah,
and
Lots of stuff.
and maybe this isn't the update everyone wanted to hear, that streams might be shorter or might not always include Joppa, which I love Joppa, but let's be honest, if Joppa's not on the stream, it probably would be shorter anyway.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I don't know. Minus isn't still involved. So.
I think between Minus and Ronek, we're gonna have new problems there.
but so there's that, potentially some other content coming now that like Minus is on the team outside of stream. So all that to say, while we didn't get a alpha is tomorrow or PA test is tomorrow, we got a very wide variety across the spectrum of updates. So while I understand that if verbiage really, really strongly affects people, that they're going to take one sentence and think it means, something. I got to say, yeah, it wasn't a flashy stream, but it was a very well-rounded stream.
Yeah,
So
I would agree with you. Well-rounded, felt like a regular development update. I mean, it's just managing expectations. We talked about this a little bit last week on the rewind, and it's just about how you manage your expectations. And perfectly acceptable development update.
actually, I got to call this out because Cal Wingless here actually brings up a great point that I see all the time, and that's either they stream too much and people complain that they should stop streaming and build the game, or they stream, don't stream enough and people complain that they're vaporware and making no progress. So
Yeah,
that's
no-win
totally
situation
true.
sometimes.
It is a balance. It is a balance.
I am totally in the camp of they need to continue to do regular updates because I do not like with the landscape as it is for crowdfunded MMOs, right? Like they're dropping like flies. I don't know if you take a look around, there's other MMOs that were crowdfunded that are not being completed, right? And so I do not want to ever. I want to be able to combat the people that say it's vaporware, right? So I want the monthly updates. I think that's so vital to continue to prove that the game is alive. It's still under development. We're still making progress. It's not vaporware, and we're going to release this thing. I just think that's critical to their success.
100% right. You're 100% right about that.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. So, and I think that's where their communication strategy has improved and will continue to improve. And I think, this new approach to more condensed or, short, sweet updates is probably a good thing. Like I said at the beginning, just get them time to develop and go heads down but still communicate.
And Minus even pointed out, like they are probably going to be doing some more pre-made updates. So
Which we've
things
seen
like
in the past,
tiles.
Right.
Yeah, we've totally seen that, but that is much more time efficient, right? So I mean, unless it's Jared, who we all love to hear Jared. But yeah, like it's going to be efficient. We're getting such consistent updates, like really consistent information, since Minus joined, and of course they're growing into that beforehand. But like we're objectively, we're at a good pace, especially compared to in the past. And no one wants to see a content drought, and I don't think that's what they're indicating here. I think it's just, hey, we want the devs to have as much time to be devs as possible and be efficient with our time. And like, for a crowdfunded game, who wouldn't want that, right? Who wouldn't want your money to go to the most efficient way to get it done as possible?
Exactly.
For sure.
Great points, Des. Great points. Anything else before we put you back in the green room? Des?
No.
I thought maybe you died for a second there.
My blood pressure went up a little bit, so I feel like I've gotten my
Get him,
my
Desred.
energy out.
Get him.
We need to put you back in the chat so you can fight people like you said you wanted to. So right now there's an angry mob waiting for you. So I'm going to throw you back in the green room.
Rad. See you guys.
Talk to you later, bud.
I feel like this point also needs to be brought up, and because our vengeful paladin was not able to make it today, they did also say the paladin word again. This is the second mention of the paladin word, and so it seems like the paladin is on the forefront of their minds.
Yep. They said cleric and paladin, so it's good.
So all you paladin people, I know there's a lot of you out there. It's coming.
Get your shields polished up because your time is coming.
Yeah, man.
All right. Our last green room person is Ray Dill. So we've talked to Ray Dill before, so glad to see him back in there. So Ray Dill, if you want to unmute yourself, I will bring you on to the show. There we go. Awesome. Here he comes. Hey, Ray Dill. How's it going?
Ray Dill.
Not
Good.
too bad. How about yourself?
Doing great, man. Haven't talked to you in a while. How you been?
Busy trying to learn my new job still.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. Well, that's good. Staying busy. Gotta like that. What would you like about the stream? What didn't you like?
Well, I was disappointed overall with the stream. I will say that. And, before I get into that, I will talk about what I liked about it first, because, that's probably more important than what I didn't like. I did like, all the medals and assets that they showed there. That was really, really cool. I'm looking forward to seeing how those get used in game. But, that was pretty realistic on that. They did a lot of work there. And then I was glad to hear that, the cleric is going to be in and the paladin's going to be in pretty soon. They didn't mention the warrior too much, but I'm pretty sure that the warrior's right there with those two. Yeah,
I think on the last Dev Roundtable, they brought the warrior into the fold as well. They talked about it.
Yep.
Yeah. And then, you was talking about pets, and the one thing that I was thinking of that I heard them say a few times that didn't get mentioned in there was that you're going to have more than one pet, and they're not going to level up together. Joppa has kind of mentioned that before. Like if you pick, I can't remember the name of that pet. There's one that's kind of more of a tank type pet, and there's another one that's more DPS-y. And so if you level up,
I remember that. That was a long time ago, though, man.
No, they mentioned it recently. Actually, Joppa.
I must have missed it recently.
He did. He named it.
Titan. There you go. The Titan. Someone just said in chat. So if you're leveling up the Titan, it's not going to level up the same as the other one. You have to put equal amount of time into each one. So yes, that tells me that they're going to have their own experience pool per pet. So you're really going to have to focus how you want to level up and be that summoner.
If you're going to be a summoner, you're going to have to be a masochist. You're going to have to level every single pet up and then collect gear for every single pet.
That's not masochism, man. That's people love that. That's good times. Are you kidding me?
Oh my goodness, it's just way too much for
me. People like specialists, right? So nothing says you can't be a specialist.
Yeah, no, it's true.
And so that was something that you guys, I was hearing them going, well, I kept waiting for someone to say something and go on. So that was something that was missed. And then with the stream, I was disappointed with the way Kilson kind of brought up it was going to be big stream. So I even mentioned to a couple people, they're going to announce something probably big because normally they don't say that. So I think that was a pretty big PR blunder on that part. And then I was disappointed hearing that it might be shorter streams, but it seemed like they just kind of glossed over everything. And it wasn't as well put together. If you look back on some of the streams not streams, but some of the videos Minus did, some of the past couple streams, those were really good. And this one just seemed like it was thrown together last minute. Like, Desiree was saying that it's not lag that it was showing. It was because of how it came through filmed. It's like, well, why didn't they take the time to refilm the network stack? That's a big deal. And when I'm looking at it going, God, that looks laggy.
Yeah, Kyle in chat when that was running, Kyle was in chat, like repeatedly saying he's not sure how that happened. Like he said when he looked at it, it looked fine. And I guess just the way that, however it was being streamed was causing that. So he clearly was pretty disappointed with that because I think he, wanted it to look, he didn't want the impression being given that it was like some sort of like a performance issue. I think he was the whole point of what his demonstration was to show how performant it is and how it works. And so I think he was definitely disappointed with that as well. So I hear what you're saying. I mean, that's one of those things that, it's like at the last minute, something unexpected happens and you could have, maybe if they spent, they had another day or something, it would have been corrected. But yeah, that happens.
Madaki just said, I blame Minus.
It's probably
the VR people are throwing Minus under the bus.
it just seems like the video wasn't tested in the for the stream beforehand, if that's the case. But just early EQ thinking, I'm looking at this going, man, that's just not a good sign to show that. And then it just seemed like they didn't really have a lot of content, and they felt it with kind of glossing over some of the questions weren't really answered that was asked, and they were kind of glossed over, where they gave us more information on some of the same questions beforehand, and they gave less this time. They could have went into some of the other areas that, like, they could have talked a little bit more about the cleric or a couple of the other stuff just to give more content. Instead, it just kind of felt like they weren't ready for the stream.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if you look at it from an overall standpoint, there was probably 2 or 3 items that we got, they're not beans, but maybe more new information. But there was some other stuff that they've definitely talked about before, if you look at it from a combat, the last dev stream was all about the art of combat, right? And I think that there was some repetition of that for sure. But I think that's the reason being is that it's very important, right? Like, again, some people don't follow it as closely as we do. And so we hear these things, we're like, oh, I just heard about that, or I've heard that before. And it may seem like a surface level or maybe some repetition. But again, you have to remember there's people out there that have never I just saw somebody in chat saying, I haven't followed this game in, a couple of years. What's going on? This is some new stuff to me. So I always try to keep in mind that there's people out there that are, they need that kind of an overview instead of that drilling down deep into one specific item. But, I not to discount what you're saying, Radel. I hear what, that was your perception of it, and that's, that's fine. I think that I tend to like ones that are more single topic focused, where there's maybe like 1 or 2 things to really drill down into. But these overarching sort of presentations, sometimes you have to do that too. But,
right. Therek and I were talking to the thing, we were watching it together as the dev stream was going, and we were discussing about how this is not our stream, right?
Yeah.
The networking and that type of stuff is just not our bag, right? I will like classes and races and quests, right? That's my thing. And Therek likes the lore and the exploration, right? And so it's sometimes you're going to get stuff that's more interesting to you, and sometimes it's not. As far as being prepared, I don't know. It's hard. Listen, as a streamer and as a person who took over the Pantheon plus you, sometimes when you plan this stuff and you've got it all set out, dude, I and tested and like you went through it, and then it's still just, dude, sometimes it's just stuff happens and it's just like things explode midstream.
I know that from my normal job. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I was kind of expecting, and I guess it was kind of the way I felt because of the buildup from the other streams, is, Joppa was talking about on the last dev stream where we were seeing a lot of stuff and talking how the UI was going to change for the pre-alpha people going from 1 to the new. And I thought maybe because they didn't just have a testing session, they're going to show, okay, this is what is going to be in the next pre-alpha, or that we were going to get a part 2 of the HDR where you're seeing the real assets in there. And so I was thinking probably one of those 2 where we were going to see some stuff, not just some still photos. Just a little bit of something. Even if it was just moving around in a circle in one area, it would have impressed me more than just the kind of little bit we had. And that's what I thought we were going to be getting, because those were hyped quite a bit in the last videos.
Yeah, I think that's a legit, concern. Not concern, but I think that's a legit criticism. Is that part 2 of the HDRP stream? I definitely think there was an expectation that it might be we might have seen it already, or it might have happened already, because when the first one did, feels like not that long ago, but I think it was actually several months ago now, if not 2 or 3. So yeah, I mean that I expect part 2 of that sooner rather than later.
You shouldn't start numbering stuff unless you're going to finish it.
Yeah, correct.
You're right. Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. I did a lore video a long time ago at part 1 of something. I've never done part 2 of it.
Just falls off a cliff. No more lore.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but it's when you do that, if you start part 1, you better have part 2 in the hopper as well. So.
But before I leave, Therek, I expect in like 3 weeks you'd have all these metals and elements named by in a stream, right?
You got it, man.
Expectations
I'm
are
on
high.
it.
There we go. We got 3 weeks. You just said.
I'm on it. You got it. Your wish is my command,
People
sir.
are locking you in. I love it.
Sweet. That's awesome. Right on. Thanks, Dill. Always a pleasure to talk to you. Come back anytime, eh?
Yeah, later.
All right, Draq. That's the green room. And I want to point out before we finish up here, but my friend Man of Rohan pointed out that it's the Zephyr is the Archimental. That's the DPS Archimental that we were talking about. The Titan was the tank, and Zephyr was the. Hey, and Minus just put in chat part 1 of Therek's materials coming soon. You got it.
Nice.
That's right. Part 1.
All
Won't
right.
make that mistake.
All right. Are we ready?
Yeah. Let's talk about it.
All right. So we here at Pantheon Plus, we're going to drop some beans tonight. Some big beans. We're dropping the big beans tonight. Big. So what we are doing, the word for the year, as coined by Japa, is eminent or eminence, right?
Yes.
So what we're going to do is we're going to do an alpha date squares game. And so the rules of this game are, we're still kind of ironing them out, but the basic idea is you'll do different activities within the Pantheon Plus community, and then you'll get to pick, once you complete those activities, then you'll get to pick a date. And the winner of this date, the person that lands on the date picks the date that alpha is launched, then that person is going to win an alpha pledge. So that would be the, which pledge is that? I've forgotten.
I think it's the Pathfinder.
Yep,
We looked it up the other day.
I did.
Yeah.
So that'll be the Pathfinder Pledge. And so you're going to be able to win, or you're going to be able to, if you complete all the activities, you'd be able to get up to 5 different dates that you'd be able to guess. And we're going only in 2022. If Alpha doesn't make it in 2022 for some whatever reason, we'll just raffle it off at the end of the year. But we're thinking eminent and eminence, and they are pumped to get to Alpha. So we're thinking it's going to be in 2022, and we're hoping that this doesn't end up with egg on our face, but we're going for it.
Yeah, it's a fun thing, and the thing is that. So what we're going to do is it's going to be on our website on Pantheon.plus. It's not there yet, but the whole thing's going to be put up there, and we're going to have list all the things that you can do to get yourself a date, in terms of whether it's leaving a comment on a video, sharing one of our tweets, doing something, stuff like that, just engagement type stuff. Then you just pick a date on the calendar, and that's your guess, that's your entry. Anyway, more details. This is just sort of the overview of it.
Yes. And I got a couple of questions. So it's going to be one date. So you would pick like January 13th, and that 24-hour period would be your date, and no one else would get that date. So it fills up, right? So just like, it's patterned after, I don't know if you've ever played like a Super Bowl squares game, right? Everybody picks the different squares, and then they fill up as you pick them. So the faster you get the stuff done, the better dates you can pick, right? So, and like Therek said, I'm shooting to get this out on Monday. I'm talking with Poi tomorrow. We're going to get all this ironed out and get it up on the website on Monday. He's going to put some cool stuff in there. We're super excited about it. I love these types of games. As someone mentioned in the chat, a quest. A quest sounds like fun.
Yeah, and Zergeric's calling me out. He says, "Is Therek going with his birthday again?" Well, two answers to that. A, I can't enter because I'm running the contest,
Yes.
and B, if I was, I wouldn't go on my birthday again because that was a mistake. So no.
All right.
But yeah, fun times. Everybody check that out as soon as check the website. It'll be updated.
Excellent. And so the last little bit of news is Pantheon Plus has a new streamer. And we do. And that is Sparrow. You know her because she has been on the Pantheon Plus classes, MMORPG classes 101 on Tuesday nights. And so we are going to raid her right now. She just started her channel. She just started streaming. She told me earlier today that she didn't want me to raid her. And I was like, no, you're getting raided. Like, it's happening. So everybody make sure to be super cool to her. Be super nice. She's really nervous. Make sure you give her a follow. Make sure you give her some love as we go raid her. Because she's super consistent with MMORPG 101 and supporting the Pantheon community. So we're super excited about that.
100%.
All right, here we go. Starting the raid. 2, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.